And that very next day, I lost $5,000.
That's going to be like in the back of your head for the rest of your life.
It always is. I think about it.
It always is.
Yeah. Full circle is going to come right back around to our beginning topic. You will only get what you can pay for. When it comes down to you or someone else, you're only going to work hard for yourself. Manifestation is bullcrap. All right. Don't have faith in the result. Have faith in what you're doing.
Welcome, my friends, back to the show, the Alpha Insight Podcast. Today I have this is going to be a pretty fun episode. I got my buddy Bobby with me. Bobby, I know you from, we play poker a lot.
Yeah.
My poker buddy. That's how I refer to you. It's like to all my other buddies, I'm like, yeah, I got this poker buddy.
Poke with them.
Yeah. But you're a super cool dude, and I really wanted to get you on because I don't know. I know you
making me blush over
like,
here, man.
Like you're like a super. I don't know. We have a lot of the same ideas, but you're also very like, ready to get after it. But also like I wanted to talk a little bit today about gambling as well. I know that's something you love doing, and I love doing it too.
Yeah.
Just not at the same scale, but I would like to talk about that a little bit.
That's rough gambling, man. You got to watch it. Once it gets a hold of you, it's hard, man. It won't let you go for nothing.
So, before we do start, if you could just give everybody like a sense of who you are and just who are you? What do you do? Like a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Well, James has already introduced my name. My name's Bobby. Pretty basic guy, average Joe. I'm a mechanic right now, full-time mechanic. Me and Jameson, interesting enough, the first time we met we were skating, so me and him, we used to skate quite a bit back in the day, and then, man, skating was something. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. There's nothing crazy about me to say, I'm, like I said, pretty average Joe, just trying to make it in this big blue world we got, just like everyone else. Jameson, you're doing your podcasting thing. I think that's so sick. And me right now, I'm trying to get into streaming, but it's kind of hard, especially with what we're talking about today, gambling. It's kind of screwed me over a lot, jump starting into this. And most of the money I had aside for it, for the streaming went to the gambling, them slots. They'll take it right out your pocket.
So I guess we could just start there with all that. Like, I guess what made you? Do you remember like your first time gambling?
I remember the first time that mattered. So everyone who's been to the casino knows how it goes. You go in there your first time, and typical person's got like $20, and they go throw it in the slot, and they'll win a couple bucks, and like, oh, this is fun, and then they'll lose it all, and they're like, oh, that sucks. It's just $20 though. It's not a big deal. And they'll go every now and then with their friends, or maybe their parents or something. And they never really dive into it like how these gamblers who actually have a problem with it do. And I remember always telling myself, man, one day I want to put a whole check on red, roulette. The roulette wheel. I want to put it all on red one day, just one full paycheck, just to say screw it. Because I'm young, I don't have kids, and I don't have any real responsibilities that I have to worry about losing a paycheck. So I did it one day, and it hit. Boy, let me tell you, it hit. And it was possibly the worst thing that could have happened to me. Once it hit, I kept going. Everyone's like, oh, dude, let's go. Let's get out of here. You're good, bro. You're up. Let's go, man. I was like, nah, dude. Now I have to double this. Then I have to double that. And I kept doing it. I kept doubling it. I was like, man, this is it. This is the best drug I've ever experienced. Just instant gratification. And to me, there's no drawbacks because the most I've ever lost is like $20. I've never been in there and lost a bunch my first time. I'm winning a bunch the first time. I've put a lot of money into it. And then I go to poker. I play some poker. I win like $800 there, and none of these numbers are crazy. There's people out there that do this with millions of dollars. But to me, this was crazy money. I play some poker and I win like $800. I'm like, holy crap, dude, that's a paycheck right there I just won in like 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
It's insane. I'm like, man, I got this extra money. Let's go to the slots. So I go to the slots and I'm playing the slots, and man, I hit a jackpot for like $2,500, you know, not life changing money, but to a 21-year-old kid, I think I was
Dude,
at the
I'd
time.
be so
Yeah, it's like,
stoked.
holy crap, dude, this 2,500 freaking bucks. Heck yeah, I can buy my girlfriend some more stuff. I can buy me some more stuff for gaming and all that. And this is sick. I'm coming back every single day. And I did. I went back the next day. And that very next day, I lost 5 grand within a day. And mind you, I'm someone who's never seen 5 grand before, like a day in my life. The 5 grand I had, half of that was from gambling. And I was like, what just happened when I lost this 5 grand? And that was almost worse than winning. Because now that I'm losing, and I had that feel, that rush, I have to get it back.
You have to get it back. Yeah.
Have to. So I kept going like every single day. I was pulling money out that I didn't even have. I don't even know where I was getting money from at this time because it was just like $600, $800 every single day. I'd get home from work, I would shower and drive 30 minutes to the casino and 30 minutes back every day. Before I had like stopped, I was probably down like 10 grand, and you know, 4 of that or 5 of that wasn't even money I had. So it is I would start selling stuff, not quite like someone with a drug addiction. I wouldn't sell stuff that I absolutely need, but like stuff that I cared about. For instance, my Xbox, you know, or my TVs. And I was real big into firearms for a while. I sold a bunch of them to get to fund that habit, and I lost a lot of stuff because of it, and ended up never winning it back. Like I may have won 800, you know, maybe $1,000 since then, but never won it back. And what really struck the losing streak was I was up like $500 or whatever this particular day, the day I went back, and I was like, man, let's go to the roulette wheel. And I went there and I started putting like a $500 bet down. Boom, gone. It's like, oh, so I put another $500 down. Boom, gone. I'm like, oh no, this is just a bad streak. I just gotta keep going and eventually get up. So the next time I put $1,000 down and I lost it too. So I had to go to the ATM, pull more money out. Boom, lost that 1,000 too. Now my ATM withdrawal limit was reached. So I had to transfer funds to another bank so I can have a new ATM withdrawal limit. And I pulled more money from that bank until that one was maxed out. Like it's 2 grand a day you can pull or whatever from these traditional banks without getting them like raised before you start pulling money. And I did like 3 times until I had 3 of my bank accounts were all maxed out. I couldn't pull any more money from them.
Holy cow.
All within like 10 minutes. All within 10 minutes. I'm telling you, dude, I was on the phone calling Chime. I was calling Chase. Like, man, you need to raise my limit. Like, I need to push this money through so I can pull this out real quick. And it was all roulette. Just gone instantly. DJ, he was there. He witnessed that shit. And I wanted to blame it on DJ for like the longest time, you know, like, hey man, why'd you let me do that, man? Like, and jokingly almost, you know, but I kind of used it as an excuse to take some of the blame off of myself. And he said he didn't even realize what I was doing. He didn't know that I was going to the ATM and pulling thousands of dollars. He thought I was pulling a couple hundred maybe. You know, I was like, no, dude, this is my life savings. This is supposed to buy me and Summer a house or a car or buy PC stuff. And sorry, I'm just rambling on.
That's crazy.
Needless to say, I've overcome it, and I haven't lost that amount of money in a long time. I still go back. Like, I'll probably go in like 2 weeks from now, I'd imagine. I'll go to the casino again. But typically when I go, it's pretty spaced out, and I don't lose thousands of dollars anymore. It's a reasonable amount. Still ridiculous, though.
Wait, so hold on real quick. That was pretty recent.
Yeah.
Which I just realized because I just heard that story recently when I saw you like last time or something.
Yeah, that was like a few months ago.
Yeah.
Maybe October, or just before October, actually. So about 4 months ago.
Yeah.
It was like September, end of September, beginning of October. Yeah, because I was saving up it was either to go towards a house or a car I really wanted at the time or more PC stuff, you know. And I had like more money than I've ever had in my life saved up at that point in time, and which wasn't a lot. It was a few grand, you know, but to me at the time, that was a whole lot of money. And
yeah,
I never thought I would ever lose that amount of money and then just keep losing money. I even called my dad one night. I was like, Dad, I just lost 5 grand. And he's like, what the heck, son? That's a big deal. Like, that's a big deal. Like, you realize I only have 5 grand in my bank account, right? This is my dad. You know, he's 40 something years old, been working his whole life. And I'm like, man, I really just threw away stuff that like people would kill for almost. You know, 5 grand's a lot of money to some people, a whole lot of money. I mean, to me, it still is a whole lot of money. Like, holy crap, what I would do with $5,000 right now, an extra $5,000, man. But, he calmed me down and he's like, son, it could be worse. You could be in debt because of it, which I did go into some sort of debt a little while after that. But he said at the end of the day, it's just money. It's a good thing that it happened young. It's a learning experience, and not when I was 40 or 50 with $40,000 or $50,000 saved up or whatever. Because, man, God forbid this happened when I had that kind of money. Oh, I don't know what I would do. It would be gone, though, more than likely. Because I just kept telling myself, man, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. I'm going to win. Just like with everything in life, you're just chasing your tail, Every now and then you get lucky and you might get a nibble of it, but you're never going to catch it like you did before.
Man, what a story.
Yeah. Others have crazier, but, for someone in my tax bracket, like, that was insane. It's just something to tell the grandkids, how their old grandpappy Bobby lost all his money. And hopefully that won't spark them to go do the same thing.
So out of that whole thing, so you don't gamble much anymore. You still do, but not as much and not nearly as risky.
Yeah, no, never.
So what do you feel like was like you learned from it?
Self-control, honestly, is the biggest thing. 'Cause I've always had a problem with self-control. I'm very impulsive. Like, I think on this drop of a hat, if I have an idea, boom, I'm doing it, no matter what it is. Sometimes it's good. It comes into play in work or whatever, or when I get inspired to start a new side hustle or something. But learning when enough is enough, and that, let's see, where am I trying to go with this? It honestly proved to me that I had no self-control, because I've always known that I've had a slight problem with it, but I've told myself, no, you're fine. If you really needed to control yourself in some way, you would, but I didn't. I mean, it still happens from this day. I always tell myself every time I go to the casino, I'm only going to spend like $200, and I always end up spending like $600 almost every time I go, unless I'm winning, of course, but that doesn't happen anymore. So even now, I still struggle with it, but it's manageable to the point where I just think about that phone call with my dad and how I almost broke down in tears after losing all this money. He's like, I don't want to do that again. I can't. I can't. I don't know what I would do if I saved up all that money and then lost it again. I'd give up almost, because that was supposed to, I don't know. That money meant a lot to me at the time. And I can't believe I just threw it away like that. But yeah, you learn about yourself when you put yourself in situations like that.
You know what? I actually kind of have a story to kind of piggyback off of yours.
What's up?
So when I was smoking a lot, and I think at this time I started getting into shrooms and Adderall. What happened was me and Conrad, we did this lemonade stand.
Yeah, I heard this story. Yeah.
A couple of years, and we made like hundreds of dollars for that. But we had this big jar saved up for, and this is a story I have not told like anybody, so I'm kind of surprised I'm telling the whole world this right now. And some people would be very disappointed with me, but this is like, I feel terrible about it.
Yeah.
But like we had this special jar we were going to give all this money to cancer research. And we had about, I don't know, after 2 summers of doing it, it was about maybe $400 from a lemonade stand. That's not, I don't know, I was pretty stoked.
When you're that young too,
Yeah, dude, I was like 13, 14. I was like, this is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I held on to that money for a while. And then I turned like 16, and I'm like starting to get into everything. Dude, I started I was just stealing from people. Like I was just, taking money from people and whatever. But I took all that money for cancer research, and I spent it all on drugs.
Jesus, man.
I feel so, I mean, man, it feels
normal.
Terrible, but
it's normal. Everyone has some sort of story like that.
It's like,
it happens. We're young. In our minds, we're like, oh, it's not going to hurt anything. At the end of the day, like they have money. They don't need it. And I'm young and this and that. And so it's okay to do it while you're young. Same thing with this gambling stuff. Get it out of your system. Be done with it. Because it's one thing when you're young, but it's a whole nother thing if like back I was saying, if I had 40, 50K when I'm 40 years old, or 50 years old, doing it then is just, you can't. You're screwed over. If you're stealing from lemonade stands when you're 40 or 50 years old, man, you got a problem. But,
Yeah.
if you're 13 years old, whatever, 14, you're being a kid, but it still feels bad. And
Yeah, dude.
it's moments like that really set your mental for life, because
Mhm.
you'll think about that. Like that's one
I
of your core
still
memories.
think about it.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like that's one thing that I'll never do
Yeah.
again. It's like if somebody trusts me with their money, or if somebody's trusting me with whatever,
Absolutely.
I gotta follow through.
Yeah. See, that's what I call divine intervention. Okay. It's the world setting you up for the life in front of you. Because imagine you have not been taught that lesson, and then you get another opportunity before you were taught that lesson to do the same thing you did, but on a way larger scale. Not being taught that lesson is not going to save you. You're going to give in to temptation. You're going to do it, and you're going to screw yourself over. So the world, I'm not a super religious person, but like there is something out there, whatever that is, it does this for us. It puts these lessons in front of us for us 100% on purpose to prepare us for the future.
Mhm.
Same thing with this gambling. I got it out. I'm ready to start making money now, like large sums of money, and not have to worry about throwing it into a slot machine. And man, you can sell all the lemonade in the world, and it's going to go to wherever you said it was going to go to. Guarantee it. And stuff like that we got to just be thankful for almost.
Oh, yeah.
Thankful for that hard heart, that hard feeling on the heart, or heavy feeling on the heart, the conscious.
Mhm.
Thankful for our consciousness, because if we didn't have a conscience, man, we'd be screwed as a human race, or whatever, as a society. That's the word I'm looking for, as a society. I don't know where I'm going on with this human race stuff,
Okay, about that,
Mhm.
that last part, if we didn't have a conscience, we'd be an interesting society.
Yeah.
It really does make me think of, and I go there because I like going there, but it makes me think of today. Like,
Mhm.
if you think about it, I've said this before to some people, but it's like, have you ever thought about how like stuff from like the 60s that people thought was like crazy is now like completely normal today?
It's mainstream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that crazy? And I feel like
Same.
it's like, it's like that just made me think of that. It's like we're losing our consciousness, or like losing our morality.
Yeah.
Like
for sure.
ability to tell right and wrong kind of thing.
You think of a specific example, what you're talking about, like maybe one thing from the 60s or whatever that was frowned upon or unheard of, and now in today's world it's just completely normalized.
I don't know specifically.
Mhm.
To make it easier on myself, let's say like the earlier than the 60s. I don't know, like some of the things we wear like in public,
Yes,
or
that's a good
even,
one.
and it's not me hating, but
Mhm.
like, like being gay and stuff. Like that
Yeah,
was
yeah, race and everything, and,
Yeah.
and feminism, and having like females in the working field, or and all that stuff, that was all frowned
Yeah.
upon back then. Whatever color you were, what orientation you were.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like
Yeah.
the race stuff, cuz like
Yeah.
yeah.
It's insane. Back in the day, man, depending on what color you were, that dictated where you were in life. And even in today's world, we still experience some like discrimination towards races, or towards experience some sort of discrimination towards different colored people, but it's not near as bad as it was back in the day. And sure, that's pretty obvious, but I guarantee you go 50 years in the past and ask someone, "Hey, man, you think there'll ever be a black president?" And I'm like,
Mhm.
"You're freaking crazy, dude. Like, you're crazy." No, there would never freaking be one. And here we are. Freaking President Obama, one of the best presidents we've had in a while, in comparison to others besides maybe Trump. But that's just, I'm not going to get political with it. Yeah. And, women, there's same thing, go 50 years in the past. Hey, is there any possibility a woman will ever be president? And they're like, "You're freaking crazy, dude. All the women are doing dishes right now," or whatever. And we had a couple women run for president. Granted, my opinion, I think they're all trash, but there is one woman out there for sure I think can change the world.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
They're like the people who have run.
Yeah.
No.
It's trial and error. It's the beta version. You know,
Yeah.
like the
We'll get
beginning
a good
process
one
of it.
eventually.
Yeah. Apple will release their third generation of them or whatever, and those will be finally good. You know, kind of like the freaking Vision Pro coming out now. Have you seen that? The Vision
The
Pro?
Vision, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard of it. And then I've heard of like the AI calls
Yeah.
and stuff about how they like call you, hey.
It's insane.
Have you seen that video? Like where they have like AI calling you and they're like, hey, I saw you didn't get the Vision Pros. I
Really?
just wanted to ask you
Oh, I
why
haven't seen that.
you decided not to buy them.
What?
Whatever.
Apple's getting crazy with their marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Vision Pro, man, that's going to be something.
So what is it? It's like a VR?
It's a VR. So it's been out or stuff like this has been out for quite a while, like the Quest 3, you know, or all the different Quest VR headsets.
Yeah, we have Quest.
It's not quite VR, but it's AR, augmented reality. So virtual reality is like a full submersion. You're in another world, another plane, or whatever. Augmented is just bringing the digital world to our physical world, you know, and making it one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's not like complete immersion like some VR you would think, but it's walking down the street and looking at a building and seeing this skyscraper lined with digital advertisements.
Oh my gosh.
That you only see if you have this Vision Pro on or this Quest 3 on or whatever is the latest in 10 years, you know, the newest edition.
Is crazy.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. I mean, you'll look everywhere in the middle of the sky. There'll be advertisements. Whoever pays the most gets their image put there. And it'll be just, if you're in that area, the code will make, hey, I'm right here right now. That means this ad is at this location. This is the ad I'm seeing. And, or it even be tailored like with cookies, you know, on the internet. It'll be tailored to what you like and whoever. Yeah, it's going to be insane. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's people driving with them. You know, they'll be watching their Netflix show while they're scrolling through TikTok and driving at the same time.
That makes me think of the Neuralink.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Oh, wait until that's incorporated.
Oh my gosh, dude. That's like scary stuff.
It's all scary. Dude.
I mean, it's really cool. I mean, me being a Christian, I kind of think that that's kind of like almost like the mark of the beast kind of stuff. I don't know how much you know about that.
I could put
maybe
two
not,
together.
But I kind of thought that the vaccine was as well.
I can see where you're coming from.
But I mean, if they like enforce it and you have to get it,
yeah,
then I feel like that would be a lot more likely. But it's just crazy how they're trying to like. Have you seen the show Upload?
I've seen many clips of it.
Dude.
It's a hilarious seeming show. Yeah.
I'm like, holy cow, that's literally exactly what's going to happen in our future. Because it's like in the show, these people, like before they die or whatever, they're uploading their brains to some like virtual reality.
Cloud or whatever.
Yeah, the cloud. So then their brain lives on or whatever in some.
Could you get down with that?
No.
Not at all?
Nope.
They said right now, Jameson, it is perfected, 100% success rate. You pass on, you will live as your former self in this cloud with whoever else is signed up with it.
Don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't want to or I don't think it's cool, but it's just like that just goes against like reality and like nature.
So,
like my religion, you know, it goes against like life and death. It's like we're trying to be gods.
That's crazy.
And it's like we can't be God.
That brings up an awesome topic I have in mind.
Yeah, what's up?
Okay. So imagine we get to the day and age where that's a thing. It's perfected. It's like guaranteed. You know, yeah, if you would sign up for it, we upload your consciousness here when you pass away. What does that say for religion? Like, what does that prove? Does that mean religion wasn't really a thing? Because I feel like if this is my opinion, I don't want to upset anyone whatsoever.
Say your opinion.
In my opinion, I feel like that would almost disprove some religious things. Because from what I would gather from religion is if you pass on, like you're there. You know that there's nothing else you can do about it. But if we can stop it and put you here instead, who's to say it even existed in the first place or whatnot? You know, if we can intervene into that, what does that mean? I feel like that it will upset a lot of people and cause a lot of controversy on that side of things.
There's this doctor, I'm forgetting his name, but people can look him up. He's talking a lot about cloning people, and they've been doing it, and they've been learning how to do it successfully. And like what they're doing is like they can like take somebody's, it's kind of just like Upload. It's where they take somebody's mind and then transfer it to some clone that they made. And they're trying to, his big thing is he's trying to build like people like cyborgs, and he's trying to make like genetically enhanced humans. So, and then he goes, we are going to be gods, and there is going to be no God because we are going to make ourselves God. And it just like, he puts his agenda out there clearly, but it makes me think that like, I don't think he's trying to make us gods, like just that. I think he's trying to purposefully, and he says this too, like the God of the Bible will be proven, like we will be above him. And I think that's what they're going to try and do is, I mean, some people are going to be in it for the technology and whatever, but I think some people are going to be in it for like, they want to push this because they want to disprove
absolutely
like religion and stuff.
You said this is real, like this is happening, you know?
Yeah,
like,
this scientist,
really,
he's like, I think he's an Indian guy or something, but his big thing is he talks about genetically enhancing humans so that we can, and like, yeah, he's got a lot of stuff.
See, I don't really think that even if you were to genetically enhance humans, that would go around God per se. I really don't, because how do I look at this from like a biased standpoint? I mean, you're still here on this world, and you still can die, and God will, if God is here, he'll just wait. You know, that's all it would be. Like, you just wait. I mean, I feel like the only possible way to like interrupt God's plan, you know, divine plan or whatever, would be like almost the Upload thing, like you actually physically die, and then we put you alive over here. You know, that to me, that's 100% an interruption in whatever balance they're supposed to be, and that I feel like would upset people. But who's this guy think he is, trying to make people immortal? Like, that ain't gonna do it for you, man. I think I'm getting off the topic there.
No, yeah, it's kind of like the same thing though.
So you said he's just trying to enhance us to make us more godlike. To what extent? You know, like
he talks a lot about basically, so when you're born, they take like the certain sperm and egg cells, and they can create the perfect human being from that. But also they can do like stuff where they change, you know, after you're born, they can like clone a body. Say you don't like your body now, they can just clone your body and then transfer your brain or whatever to another body, or
and from a religious standpoint, you wouldn't like this because it's kind of messing up with the like God's plan on everything almost.
It's like, you know, I think we're all built how we were built for a reason. And it's like we're all built in the image of God, and like what makes us want to change so bad? I think it's like we just want, I mean, in my opinion, I think the reason all this stuff is happening and people just want to keep pushing our limits. We want to keep pushing our limits to see how far we can go, because we're all so like stimulated constantly.
Yeah.
We're all like, everything's happening around us. It's getting noisier. It's getting like, there's more screens. There's more.
We always need more.
We're constantly needing more, and then we're never taking a break to just relax, you know?
Yeah, so I could see that upsetting some people, especially like super religious people. But in my mind, I feel like the religious people should be the people who accept it. Because like what you were saying earlier with, you know, God makes us who we are. We're all made in God's image, you know, or that would entail that God has a plan, you know, a plan. Do you think that anyone could go against God's plan? If like, let's say 100% without a doubt, God is real and God is all who we say he is. Do you think anyone could possibly go against him and what his will is?
I think they can go against him.
Okay, let me rephrase it.
If you mean like destroy his plan, or
yeah, like completely
mess up his plan.
Yeah, like derail his plan.
No.
Okay, then wouldn't you think that his plan is to let us do this?
I think in the Bible it kind of says actually what it's going to kind of be like.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, it says in Revelation, and I don't know everything about it and
Yeah.
whatever, but basically, if you think about it, the devil's main goal is to just he's trying to take as many people with him as he can.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And God has a plan, but he knows that, like, you know, there's going to be an end to all of this, and he's going to come out on top in the end, and he gives people free will to believe what they want. Because, you know, if he forced a relationship, it's a forced relationship, you know. If you had a friendship and it was like they were only friends with you because you made them, it wouldn't be so great. But people, so Satan, the devil, his plan is to take as many people as he can. And God, he's not going to sit here trying to prove everybody that he's real. He did what he had to do, and he works in everybody's lives individually. But the devil's job is to confuse people and create like chaos, confusion,
Yeah.
and like
Distractions
and whatever. And man, I'm losing my train of thought.
Well,
This
it
was
happens so
gonna
quick,
be
man.
so good.
It happens so quick. You're right on the brisk of it. And
Yeah.
It's just gone. It's like, nope. And that right there is the devil trying to pull you off, man.
But it's like it's like so God, he's already, like, history has already been written. He already knows what's gonna happen,
Mhm.
and he warns us. He's like, hey, it's gonna be hard to be a Christian. It's gonna be hard to follow me. People are gonna persecute you for it. He says in the Bible, it says in the end, like, what's good is considered evil and what's evil is considered good. And like, things are just going to be completely flip-flopped because the devil wants to take everybody he can.
The devil's going to put everything out of perspective, you know, and how it really is. Going to manipulate it, like you said. Good is evil and evil is good. Try to trick you. See, now, I'm not a super religious person, like I've said before, but I do believe in a higher power, or there's something out there. If it's God, great. You know, I love it. I love God, but I just don't know what it is, you know. But we are on a path, and whatever path that may be, it is willed. It is someone's will for us to be on that path for sure. And it's a scary thought to have because it almost takes away your purpose, you know.
Okay, is it all right if I say this real quick?
Yeah, sure.
So I was that you said that God has a plan for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and he has like a path for everybody. But because we get, you know, like, we decide to take our own path a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So we have to learn our own lessons, and we have to figure a lot of things out that we wouldn't have had to if we would have just stayed on God's path. But one thing I had to realize was, like, he has a plan for me, and then I have a plan for me. In the end, he's always going to bring me back to his path, but I can wander as far as I want, and then eventually I'm going to end up going back, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you make your own decisions, and you, in the end, you choose like what happens, but you know, he's got a path for everybody.
Yeah, see, a lot of people look at it that way, and that is a great way to look at it. I think more people should look at it that way. It's, yes, we're all on this path. Sometimes we veer from it, but we always come back. No matter
I
what.
think, sorry to cut you
No,
off
you're
again.
good, yeah.
I think we only really come back if you, like, I think if you're on the path that you're supposed to be on God's path, when you know what that means, you know, and like you have a relationship with him, because you can't really know what his path is unless you have a relationship with him. So it's like, if you never find God, then I feel like what it would be like is just you're living on your own path your whole life, you know, and maybe like God's with you and he's like kind of tries to pull you in every once in a while, and he's like, you know, trying to get you.
Yeah.
But in the end, you know, like, we make our own decision, and then like we create a path depending on if we want to do that or not. Does that make sense?
No, for sure.
I could get it if that got confusing.
No, like, it makes sense. to me that presents problems when it's said like that, in the sense that, like earlier we mentioned, do you think God's plan could be derailed by humans, by like human, like mankind's power? Like, we cannot physically or spiritually derail God's plan. There's no way. He's God. There's no way we could. That being said, wouldn't that mean that everything's happening for a reason and it's as God would want? And if everything's happening for a reason, as God would want, wouldn't he want us to take this separate path? Wouldn't he know that we're taking this separate path? And if that's the case, then wouldn't he know that this person isn't going to get back on it? And wouldn't he know that this person is? And if that's the case, then would he have any intervention at all with anything going on if he already knows? And
I think he does try. I think he tries to show people.
See, but
it
just doesn't make sense, because if he's trying to show us, but he already knows that we're not going to get on the path, why would he show us? I mean, he could do it just because he's like, oh, I have to. It's a job. You got to do this part of the job you don't want to do, even though, or you have to do this part of the job, even though it's not going to work. But I don't know, something just isn't right about it. Like I've struggled with this for a lot. I've thought about this exact thing before, like everything happening for a reason. Like, let's say without a doubt, 100% that everything happened for a reason. What doors would that open? What kind of chaos would that cause? Like, does that mean that guy that shot and killed that family of 5, that was for a reason? And a lot of people, stuff like that gets brought up all the time. Oh, if God was real, then why would he let my baby die?
Yeah.
And it's, in my opinion, that baby had to die for the baby after that to live the success it was going to live. Or, like let's say, for instance, this is a crazy theory, but just to put it in perspective, this family of 5 had to die so that Einstein can be a thing. Einstein changed the freaking world. Without Einstein, who knows where we would be at right now?
It's like a constant chain reaction.
Yeah, yin and yang. Okay, that's what I believe in. For every action, there's reaction. For every this, there's that. It's the best way I could put it. And that's why God lets things happen the way they do, because he doesn't need to intervene. It's all divine. It's all like, yes, I know your walk is hard. I know this is going to suck for you, but this is what needs to be done for others to prosper. And a lot of people don't like that ideology, because they're like, oh, God's not going to leave someone behind.
That's 100% right.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. It's right. But like, people are like, no, that's not right. God's not going to let that happen to people. But if people would just understand that things happen for the betterment of everything. And that seems like almost like a narcissistic point of view. I know a lot of people will relate that to like genocide. They'll call that genocide. They're like, oh, that's like Hitler trying to kill out the Jews because he thought that would better the race. And no, it's not like that, because that is humankind. Well, see, then that it brings me back to my same point. It brings it
off to like the path or something, right?
Well, what I was going to say is that Hitler, with the tragedy that happened when he was around, was not God. It was Hitler. It was humankind intervening. But then that would kind of disvalidate my point I was saying about God having a purpose for everything. Like, there's a reason that he allowed Hitler to do what he did.
He allows it.
Yeah.
Because we can take our own path, but in the end, he's gonna try and use what mess we make, and he's gonna try and turn it into good.
I think it's because God follows the laws of physics.
And it's really, I've actually thought about this a lot, and I've had the same questions. So, and it's like, this is good stuff to talk about, because I get confused about it all the time.
It's very confusing, because it's stuff we don't know. This is stuff on paper.
And I'm being 100% open-minded to you right now.
I appreciate that. You can't talk about this with a lot of people. It's like, they'll lose their marbles.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I have my beliefs and whatever, but it's like, I want to understand.
And that's
why do you believe what you believe? And it's like,
yes,
if you don't ever consider other people's perspectives, then really, how do you know if yours is really the right one?
Exactly. Exactly. You have to consider it, because if you don't consider it, then you can never disprove it.
Yeah.
And it's not all about disproving. I don't want to suggest that.
Yeah.
But
it's like really finding the truth.
Yeah, for sure. You got to search your own truth. And for me, I'm constantly looking for the truth. I have never, ever in my life put down on paper, like written in stone, what I believe. I don't have anything written in stone what I believe. I'm so open for other possibilities. You know, if one day I truly believe that aliens control the world, then that's what I believe. If one day I truly believe that God is the Almighty and everything, man, by God, that's what I believe. You know, I'm constantly searching for that. And that's why I love talking about this stuff, because it constantly gives me more insight on it and helps me come to the decision. And hopefully I'll come to something one day soon, because I don't want to live my whole life, you know, searching for something to believe in. But man, it's hard for me the way my brain works. I'm that guy that needs the proof. You know, what wasn't seen isn't real, or saying, how's that saying go? I don't know if y'all old folk know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, y'all know the saying, but this generation don't know those sayings. So.
This generation didn't know anything.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I'm a man. I like to call myself a man of science. Like I like facts and statistics and numbers and pictures. I love pictures, but there ain't no pictures of God, so we can't go off of that.
Dude, you know, you kind of remind me of this kid I went to school with when I was in 5th grade. He was like, they were teaching about the Big Bang Theory, and I was the one
Lordy.
Christian kid. I was like trying to tell everybody, Jesus, whatever, Jesus. And then it was so funny. This one kid, he was like, he just wanted to argue with me about it. But he just wanted to, he's like, no, Jesus isn't real because science says this and this and this, and science proves this. And I'm just like, what I told him, I was like, all right, man, you wait for the day that you see Jesus coming down from the clouds, and then you'll believe me.
Hey man, maybe he will.
Dude.
Maybe he'll experience something like that. You know?
It's so funny. But man,
yeah, I don't like to put anything on paper.
Yeah,
I'll never say like, oh, Jesus isn't real.
It's okay, but like religion, I don't necessarily like that word a lot.
Me neither.
Because I feel like with Christianity, it's not like a religion, but it's more of a relationship.
Yeah.
Like with God, it's not a belief that I have. It's like it's a real relationship. It's like I talk to him, he talks to me. And it's like that's something that most people don't understand about being a Christian, is that it's not just some belief that you have, but it's like you get your belief, like you get it proven to you, you know?
It's
like
a feeling.
It's a feeling. It's like he speaks to you,
it's
and
almost physical.
only you will know
Yeah.
when he's talking to you, you know?
Okay. I think of stuff like that all the time, because you hear all these people, these like pastors and priests and priestess, I don't know what you call a female priest or whatever, but all these people was talking about their experiences with that, you know? And it's like, man, I prayed and he talked to me, and I've always wanted to experience that. Like, man, that would do it for me. If I hear him talking to me, I'm getting on my knees and I'm praying to God the rest of my life. I will do everything in his image from here on out. But I'm like, I try to get to the bottom of it. Like, why doesn't this happen to me? Why does this happen to everyone else but not me? And I think about it. It's like, what is it really that you're hearing or seeing? Is it?
I think that is like, I think he kind of works in different ways for different people, you know? Because like he knows you exactly how you are, and he knows exactly how you think. And I think if he was to just give you the answer, that's not you coming to him. It's like
it's not faith, you know.
It's not faith.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people need sometimes, you know. It's
I struggle with it so much. Yeah.
Faith.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of faith. You know, I never really have. I've always been kind of guy that's everything's gonna happen as it happens. It's out of my hands. You know, I'm sit back and relax and take it as it is and as it comes. I wish I had more faith, and who knows, maybe one day I'll experience something that gives me that, kind of like our lemonade. It'll be my lemonade stand. You know, I'll experience it and it'll open up my eyes and set me on the path that's left for me after that. You know?
So for me, if it's all right, if I tell you a little bit about my story with that, I grew up in a Christian home and whatever, but I didn't really feel like it was my religion. I didn't feel like that was me. Just felt like it was there because my parents put it on me.
Yeah.
And then, I had this big experience with demons, and I've talked about it on a couple different episodes. But I had this crazy experience with demons, and for the longest time, I didn't know how to, like, I hated God. It was like I knew he was real, and
Like them.
like I said, he works different ways for different people. So this is just my story. Everybody's is different, but for me, it was like I knew he was real, but I didn't want to follow him. I hated him. And so I chose to live how I wanted to live. And I was like praying to the devil and whatever. Like, I was seeing demons, I was hearing them and whatever. Eventually, I was trying to get rid of them, and I didn't know how.
Thought it was medicine, huh?
Yeah. But I tried every way to get rid of them. And I was like, I would talk to them. I would send them back to hell. I would be like, you're out of here. Get out of here. But they never went away. And they would always come back until, and I kept getting this like from everybody, my mom, and like, he was like the voice in the back of my head. And he was like, I knew what I had to do, but I didn't want to do it. And the voice was telling me, you need to surrender. You need to surrender your life to God.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know what that means, first of all.
Right.
But also, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I was like, I love
Stubborn,
doing what
yeah.
I'm doing. I was like, I love smoking. I love drinking. I don't want to give up any of that.
Yeah, I love spending all the money from the lemonade stand, you know?
Exactly. I was like, I love my lifestyle. I love what I'm doing. I don't want to surrender.
Yeah.
But eventually, what happened was I got to such a low point in my life where I was like forced. It was like I had no other choice. I was like, I've tried everything else to be happy, and I was like exhausted. I was done. I didn't know what else to try.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, all right, God, I'm going to surrender to you.
Just gone.
And like, demons are gone, dude. And it was like ever since then, I've had like, I completely changed.
I
And
believe
it was
dude.
like, at first, it was like, it was really hard for me to believe. I was like, praying about it a
Unsure.
lot. I was like,
Yeah.
God, is this like real? Is this
Am
a
I
real
finally
thing?
done? You know, are you teasing
Yeah.
me or am I done? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like with more time, like my relationship grew, my questions grew, and I kept asking more questions, and I kept getting answered, and then I just, I got filled with like just joy and like peace. Like I have peace now. I could just relax. And it was just ever since that moment when I was like, okay, I have to surrender.
Yeah.
You know? And like for everybody, it's different.
That's awesome. That it's not, but it's awesome. You know,
Yeah.
like the outcome of it, the end result was awesome. I don't know. I haven't had too many crazy religious experiences. There's been a few, but nothing like that. You know, the
Yeah.
time's coming.
I just like, honestly, dude, and I'm gonna be so real with you. Like
Yeah.
I've prayed for you a lot.
Really,
I've prayed for Gabe a lot.
dude. I love it. You know,
And
I mean,
I'm praying like one day he shows you what you need to see and whatever. And I don't mean to be that crazy
no,
Christian
you're not.
friend,
You're
but
not
like
pushy, bro.
it's just, man, I love you so much, and like
yeah.
I know for me, I would hate myself if I didn't share this
Yeah,
with you.
didn't try.
You know? If I didn't try.
That's
So,
it's your path, dude. That's what you're set here for. 100% is that's why you're doing this podcast stuff, to get your word out there. You know, you're not some disciple or nothing, but your word is meant to be heard, and it will. You know, and it's funny, we're kind of like crawling to that topic, you know, and religion and all that and paths. And my mom, she has it stuck in her head that I'm supposed to be a preacher one day, like a religious. Well, she never specifically used the words religion or religious preacher, you know, or preacher of the gospel. And I like to really focus on that detail, that she never specifically said what kind of preacher I'm supposed to be.
mm-hmm.
But it was always insinuated that it was some sort of religious preacher. That's the context she gave. But she said, like, I can't remember, it was before I was even born or after I was born, something like that. But her preacher at the time came to her and was like, that boy's going to be a preacher. Let me tell you, he is going to be a preacher. My mom is my whole childhood has always just seen things and said, I'm going to be a preacher. I'm going to be a preacher. And there was something else. I don't remember what it was. Maybe I was too young or just didn't care enough to like really hone in on it and hold on to the memory. But there was something that like shook me because it was so put in front of my face that I was supposed to be a preacher. Like I almost believed it for a second, you know. I don't remember what it was. I wish I could, but it was right there. It's like, man, I'm supposed to be a freaking preacher, you know? And I'm very interested to see where life will take me like the next 10 years, 15, 20, 30, 40, however long it takes, you know? But before I die, I'm curious to see where I'm at and if there's any truth to that, you know, or what kind of preacher I may be. You know, who knows? Maybe this is the preaching right here. This very moment, I'm preaching right now, just like you're preaching. But sorry, getting off topic.
I think that's just so interesting because like that's gonna be like in the back of your head for the rest of your life.
It always is. I think about it.
Always is.
Yeah.
And so you know what's crazy? I had the same thing growing up, except for it wasn't my parents or anything. It was a vision in my head.
Really?
Yeah. And I had a vision in my head of what I was supposed to do. And it was like, even I lied. My mom and dad, like they would say it to me. They're like, Jameson, you're gonna lead people.
Yeah.
You're gonna become like a
figure,
a teacher, a preacher, or whatever.
Yeah.
That was like something I kept hearing, but I also had this vision in my head, and I was like, I'm supposed to do this.
That's sick. Yeah.
And you know, when I was like in the whole talking with demons and stuff, I still had the same vision. It was like God kept telling me, he's like, hey man, I still got a plan for you.
It's kind of like
he's like, you can run all you want.
Almost. Yeah. That's sick.
And it was just so crazy because I was just like, nope, it's not going to happen.
Right, not me.
Yeah, I was like, it's not going to happen. But he just kept telling me, he's like, he was just that voice in the back of my head forever. And it's like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Man, I'm so open to it. You know, I mean, if that's what I turn into, then by golly, I'm here for it. You know, like I was saying earlier, and I kind of go with the flow. Wherever life takes me or pushes me, that's where I'm at in that moment. And man, if that's where I end up at, then that's where I end up at. That's what I'm willing to do or ready to do. And I don't know, because I do believe in signs, you know, and because that's the most blunt way to put it is signs. Yeah, I absolutely believe that whatever the higher power is, that thing absolutely puts signs in front of you to kind of guide you to where you need to be, and it'll put you where you need to be no matter what. And that's why like everything happens for a reason in my mind, and all this, you know, picking up that penny you found on the road that has some sort of effect to where you're going to be in life before you leave life, you know. And I get stuck on that stuff all the time. It's just down to the nittiest grittiest detail of cause and effect. Like I said, simply just picking up a penny off the ground, you know, how that may change your path or lead you further down your path, you know. Like there's no telling how catastrophic or dramatic or huge just picking up that penny could be. You know, for some people, they picked up $1 million penny. It's a penny worth $1 million, and that absolutely changed their life. You know, for other people, maybe he picked up that penny, and now that baby doesn't pick up that penny and choke on it. You know, and that just, I can go down a whole rabbit hole. That
it's
stuff.
Just like cause and effect. And
it's like left and right, constantly. But wherever you're at, there's always cause and effect. And,
so
and that is for this audience's, you know, terms or whatever. That's God's divine intervention right there.
Whatever you think.
Yeah. That's the. I personally, when it comes to talking about religion, I use like the universe as almost referring to God, and like spirituality as referring to religion. It's all one and the same in my mind. Like my version of the universe is y'all's version of God. Like it's the same thing, just without the physical term of God. Because I just don't like the physical term of God. I don't like putting like a physical attribute to it. But yeah, whatever the universe has planned, that is the universe's divine intervention, you know, of setting us up. And, you know, who knows, maybe one day me saying universe will turn to saying that's God's plan. And another big reason why I don't use the terminology of like religion and God and Jesus and all that is because I don't fully believe it yet. I don't want to lie to myself. And if God is real, I don't want to lie to him either. Like I don't want to say I believe in you, God, when I know I really don't fully believe in him yet. If
you don't, and like that's...
Yeah, and that's really all it is. I don't want to lie. You know, I don't want to lie to myself. I mean,
honestly, I'm not gonna lie though. Like, it's like upsetting watching people say, "Oh yeah, I believe in God," and then they're talking about it just like how you're talking about, like a universe or whatever.
Oh
And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah. They know you don't
no,
really.
you
Yeah, you
don't
don't
really.
Yeah. Absolutely. And
So I respect that more
Yeah.
than you could know. Like,
that's good to hear. I was
yeah,
curious how people would
because
think
like
about
I
that. You know?
I see it too many times where people are like, "Oh, I believe in God" or whatever, and then
Yeah,
it's like
and then they really
they
don't.
really
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
that's why I just don't call myself religious or nothing, because and until I believe it, there's no point in me saying it. And like a drug addict saying I'm not addicted, it's contradicting, and it gets you nowhere. You got to admit whatever it is before you can fix it. And I admit right now I don't necessarily 100% believe in God. And for those of y'all listening, by all means, I hope and pray that there is a God. I hope there is. Like I said earlier, I would get down on my knees if it was proven to me. I totally would. I mean, that would make life so much easier and so less stressful, knowing that there's someone out there watching over us and guiding us, and he knows where we're going, because not knowing where you're going is scary. It's absolutely terrifying. And it would be so comforting to know that there's someone out there. So I always look. That's why I love having these conversations, because I'm just hoping that one day it'll click and it's like, yes, I can relax now. I know he's out there and I know he's watching over us, but it just hasn't clicked yet. Maybe one day soon, hopefully. But yeah, I don't think we stayed on gambling very much.
no, we didn't. That's okay. That's why I don't like to. I tell my listeners on the interviews, I'm like,
be prepared.
Don't know what to expect.
Yeah. Like the better way to put it is we're gonna start talking about gambling.
Yeah,
is where you should put it. Not like this session we're talking about gambling. No,
Yeah.
we're gonna start talking
We're
about
gonna start it off by
with a great way to put it.
Yeah, because I mean, I had the choice to either ask my interviewees, like, make a specific topic and then ask them like questions about like how they thought about this or that topic.
Mm-hmm.
But I ran into an issue on the very first interview.
Really?
And it was, if they don't know much about that topic, there's nothing to talk about.
The interviewee or the person you're interviewing?
Yeah, the interviewee. Yeah. So it's like, I just want these interviews to be like, something we're both doing. It's like something you're
going
passionate
with the flow,
about. Yeah. Something
these
we can both
interviews,
talk about without
all they
putting
should
pressure on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All these should be is just getting an outside perspective, or getting a perspective from someone else, just seeing their perspective of the world and like trying to look at it through their eyes. Because that's gone. We used to be able to see things from people's perspective back in the day, but nowadays it's all me, mine, and doing these interviews is just trying to jump into their skin and like see how they see things. That's super interesting to me. And I think about stuff like that all the time as well, is how do they view that versus how I view it? How does that affect them versus how it affects me? And doing interviews like this really can put some of that perspective.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, he shares a lot of the same feelings and thoughts that I do. I thought I was the only one, or
it's like really helpful stuff to
like, man, that's a crazy way to think about it. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
And so, it's not just about interviews are super helpful though.
Mm-hmm.
Super helpful. Whereas at one time, you're talking earlier about like your past like drug phase. I went through the same sort of thing, taking pretty much any drug I get my hand on. And one of my most memorable nights or experiences with a drug, it was ecstasy. I'd taken like 2 or 3 things, like pills of ecstasy, like little tablets. And I took them with a friend of mine. Me and him stayed up like 24 hours straight talking about religion. That's all we talked about was religion, like back and forth. Probably one of the best conversations I've ever had as far as religion goes, because it was so open-minded from both sides.
Yeah.
We were never trying to disprove one another.
Yeah.
It was just your thought and my thought, and it kept just going down this rabbit hole. And just, what about this? Oh, what about this? And man, we had this click moment. It's like, I figured it out. I figured the universe out, man. Like, this is it. And he was like, what is it? You got to tell me right now. And I'll tell him. And then, boom, it'll click for him. He's like, man, I figured the universe out. And it kept going back and forth. And we were trying to like pinpoint it down, like come up with a formula almost, not literally, but metaphorically come up with a formula of how religion works. And it was really cool. We were sitting on a couch not bigger than that couch for freaking 24 hours straight almost. Of course we're smoking and everything
awesome.
too, keeping it going. But yeah, it was a great conversation. And that has been some of my better experiences with drugs and reasons why I kept doing them. But it always ends up bad eventually, in the long run. But there are, again, with the everything happens for a reason. I couldn't imagine living in a world where I didn't do drugs or haven't done drugs before, because it's 100% made me into who I am, and it needed to happen for me to be who I am.
Yeah.
It's not everyone's path, and I don't wish that path on anyone whatsoever. But for those of you who need it and who have gone through it, it's okay. Like, you can come out of it, and you'll be the person you're meant to be afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something people don't do a lot, or people don't realize a lot, is that we get hung up on our past, or we're sitting
let it define
we
us.
sit in regret. Yeah, we let it define us. Or wait, no, we yeah, like remember the past in regret, or remember it in pain. Like, if I had the choice, I could remember that this whole cancer thing with my sister. I can remember that whole thing in pain, and like I can,
oh man, it sucked
whatever.
or whatever, and it was the worst. But
yeah, or I can look at it like that made me who I am today.
it made you stronger.
And it 100% did.
Yep.
But it's just like you choose how you look at it.
Absolutely. Got glass half full, glass half empty.
Mhm.
And it's a lot easier to look at it as more meaningful when you're on the other side of it.
Oh yeah.
It's one thing when you're right in the knit and grit, of it. It's hard to see the positive or the potential positive. Like, I guarantee anyone sleeping on the side of the road tonight is like, man, life sucks. I'm done. I'm over it. But I guarantee you, once they're on that other side, they're like, man, I'm so glad that I was able to come over that. I can get over anything now. And it's those experiences that really do define us, but in a good way.
When I was in like the thick of everything with like my mental health and stuff, I was stargazing a lot. I found myself stargazing a lot.
Literally stargazing.
Yeah, literally. I love stargazing. It's one of my favorite things. But I ended up getting a stick and poke on my thigh.
Oh yeah.
Of the Little Dipper.
Oh, that's sick.
Because it was like when I was so like, no matter how bad things were, I still got to look up and I was like, wow, there's so much, like there's a bigger picture that I don't even get to see.
Yeah.
It was like there's so much going on, and it did definitely help out.
Help center you again, it's like still hope,
because there's just so much going on everywhere, and there's just so much of a bigger picture that we don't even get to see.
Yeah.
So
we're just a little speck, one little speck of the whole universe, and it doesn't have to be so catastrophic. Those little things we go through, it's just another thing we go through, and we can just keep moving on, and realize that is not going to end the world. That little experience we had is not going to end the world, and there's a brighter side.
You want to take a quick break?
Yeah. We can take a 5.
But welcome back, my friends. We took a break. Talked about a lot of things that will never be put out there.
Yeah. For a while, who knows? Maybe we get big enough, it won't matter what we say anymore. But
yeah,
for now, to be announced.
But for now, let's talk about just a little bit, maybe. Who knows? We'll see where it goes, about money and success. And like, I did like that, what you said real quick when we were on break, like what measures success? Because I saw something a little bit of a while ago about this guy, what measures success? And he was like, because all these people are saying, oh no, it was not about success, but it was like, what measures hard work, like how hard you worked. And he's like, because some of you guys are posting on your stories like, I worked 12 hours today. And he's like, okay, but does that mean you worked harder? Because somebody else worked 16 hours today. And then there's like how much focus you had, and then there's like all these different variables, which is crazy.
Hard working or hardly working? You know, it's a saying that I grew up with. Are you hard working or hardly working? And that that doesn't always go along with what you're saying, because I know what you're trying to say. It's like, who's to say that this 12-hour shift worker worked harder than the 16-hour shift worker? I think that's more what you're getting at.
It was, oh yeah, because it was about like people posting on their stories or something saying, I work harder than everybody
Yeah.
else and
It's like,
whatever.
well, you work 12 hours, I work 16 hours.
Yeah.
You know?
So does that mean that I outworked you or whatever?
So in layman's terms, you know, put things on paper, obviously it boils down to what work are you doing? You know, obviously the guy that worked 12 hours in the oil field is going to have it a lot easier than the guy that worked 16 hours walking dogs or whatever. Sure, on paper, like, oil field worker worked harder. But what you really got to think about is, what did that dog walker go through to be able to work that 16 hours walking dogs?
It's like busy work versus work that's going to really boost what you want.
Yeah.
You know, like, have you ever thought about that? Like, I've thought about this a lot because I used to be that guy who was like, oh, I'm the hardest worker out here. I'm doing 16 hours and I'm doing like, when I get home, I'm hitting the gym and whatever.
Yeah.
But it was like busy work. It was like
Wasn't
stuff-
building anything.
It wasn't building anything. It was going nowhere. But I was like, oh, I'm working so hard. And I was, but it wasn't leading to anywhere. It's like when you're running on a treadmill, you can run, but you're not going to go anywhere.
I love that a lot. It's like, you know, there's this guy working on the assembly line, putting this one bolt in 16 hours a day. And then there's the guy that's running back and forth to different offices, different people, having different meetings, trying to set up things and, you know, build a company, run a company or whatever. And in a lot of ways, that'll always trump the guy working 12 hours on the oil field. Sure, it's physically demanding on that oil field, but where are you putting yourself at after that?
Mm-hmm.
You go home, you shower, you go to bed, and you made the rich richer. And sure, people will look at it like, oh, well, he's supplying the world with oil, you know? Yeah, and sure, we need people for that.
But it's like your personal success path, like, you know? Like,
When it comes down to your end goal, what did you do for yourself?
yeah.
Build your 401k that, you know, your company may get bought out and your pension, you may lose your pension or whatever. Like, at the end of the day, are you really doing anything for yourself versus this guy that worked, you know, 6 hours, only 6 hours, making Zoom calls or talking to suppliers, trying to figure this out or that out for their business or whatever it may be. Or even the guy sitting in college right now getting a business degree, trying to work on how to run his business in the future whenever he starts it up. And I guess it all just depends on what your end goal of success looks like. You know, do you want to be the guy that retires off of a 401k or a pension, you know, or do you want to be the guy that retires with generational wealth or whatever? And it gets so much broader than that. It can even be, it all really just depends. You know, I personally think the person that is building something for themselves will always work harder than the guy working on that oil field because it's for himself.
Mm-hmm.
I think about this. Oh, it's funny we bring this topic up because this is something I was thinking of today. Actually.
I know. I think about it like constantly too.
I'm at work. I'm a mechanic. I mentioned that in the beginning of the stream. I say I mentioned that a lot, but oh well. I mentioned that in the beginning of the stream. And don't get me wrong. I love working on cars. It's a passion of mine. It always will be. It's something I've dreamed of doing from being a kid, you know, whether it was actually working on cars or being an engineer for cars and whatnot. But every day I think about my boss randomly coming up to me and saying, Bobby, you're not giving me 100% today. You know, I feel like you're a little off. And I always think of my response being, of course I'm not giving you 100%. And then I envision him saying, well, why not? And I tell myself, I would say, are you giving me 100% of your money? And he's like, well, no. Well, then I'm not going to give you 100% of me. You know, it's not worth it. If you're not giving me 100%, I'm not going to give you 100%. You will only get what you can pay for. And you can only pay for 20%, which is $20 an hour or whatever, you know. And that don't look at that as me not being a hard worker. I do exactly what is required of me throughout the day and day, or throughout every day. I do exactly what's required of me. I get what he needs done, And I've always been a hard worker, but at the same time, I'm not going to work my butt off to grow his company and to make him even more successful. And I love my boss. He's my best friend, one of my best friends, good friend of mine. And I wish him all the success. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to you or someone else, you're only going to work hard for yourself. And I'm not going to make myself successful working for $20 an hour. So I'm not going to put all my heart and soul into $20 an hour. And a lot of the older people who may be listening to this are going to be, oh, well, you got to earn it. You got to work for it. You got to prove it that you deserve 100% of the company or whatever. And yeah, but at the same time, like, I know I'm never going to get there.
It's like, is that what you want though? You have to,
and that's the other thing.
you have to decide, like, is that where you want to be?
Exactly. And I also had conversations with myself. I know it may sound weird, but I talk to myself a lot in my head.
That's 100% normal.
Right. It's like different scenarios I daydream about. And one of them, again, me and my boss having a conversation, it's him bringing that up and me saying, well, yeah, I may be leaving soon because you're not paying me enough or whatever. And I think of my response, if you were to ask, well, what could I do? How much more can I pay you? And I envision myself saying, can you one day give me all the money in the world? Can you one day give me $1 trillion? And he's gonna be like, well, no, obviously not. It's like, okay, well, then I have no future here. I know I may not make $1 trillion, but my goal is to try. And I need to be somewhere where I have the ability to try and want to try. I don't have the ability to possibly make all the money in the world at this job. There's no possible way. Like, I'm going to do that being a mechanic, right? So that's not where I intend to be. I tend to be in the place that's going to make me the absolute most possible success. And it's not here. So I'm just doing this while I have to until I find something. And I'm realistic, guys. I know I'm not going to reach $1 trillion, but if you sell yourself short saying like, oh, well, I mean, I could settle for $100,000 a year, you're not going to get where you want to be doing that. I have to set my goals high. Real quick, one more thing.
Oh, yeah.
My stepdad, I don't like the guy, but he gave me this weird analogy that I kind of like. He said, I would always rather you aim high and miss, because at least you aim higher than you would have, or you hit higher than you would have if you aimed lower. For instance, if you shoot for the stars, you land on the moon. A freaking rapper or singer said that one day.
Yeah. I know
shoot
what
for the
you're talking
stars,
about.
you land on the moon, if nothing else. And that's me. I'm going to shoot for $1 trillion because then I may land on a freaking billion or something, and it's not all about the money, but
It's also, sorry.
No, you're good. That's it.
A lot of it is also like manifestation.
Yes.
If you like believe in all
Ooh.
that, but like manifestation it's like mindset and stuff. It's also like a lot of it is like, are you going to achieve something if you don't believe it? If you don't believe it's possible, And a lot of the times, no. Sometimes it's like you get a lottery ticket or something, So sometimes it happens, but it's like if you're talking about building a business or like working your way up to the top, it's never, ever going to happen if you don't think it can.
Absolutely, dude.
And a lot of that is like manifestation. And like, I don't know about the whole manifestation thing. Like, saying saying it out loud.
I think I can.
Putting it out in the universe. I think that's really cool stuff and interesting. I don't know. I don't have hard set beliefs on it, but like the whole energy, like brain waves, stuff like that. That's really interesting stuff.
Okay.
I don't know. That was kind of like a topic change, but
I love it. Because it's gonna make this.
I love that stuff too, though.
It's gonna make this whole podcast come full circle right now.
Full circle.
Just
right
wait.
Here.
Full circle is gonna come right back around our beginning topic. Okay.
The gambling.
It really is. Because boy, oh boy.
Wait. I don't want you to lose your train of thought, but
No, you're good. It's
this
there.
whole lifestyle stuff, that's for like the person also who's trying to go there. If you're just somebody who wants to go to college and like get that job, job working for somebody else. I mean, I have a lot of opinions on college, and I think college is terrible, like 99% of the time.
Yeah. Agreed.
But that's another topic for another day, but tell me what you were going to say.
Manifestation. Alrighty. Manifestation is bullcrap. All right. In some ways. It depends on how you look at it. My personal experience,
I'm
it's
excited.
bullcrap because of my gambling situation. I tried my living soul to use manifestation to hit it big on them slots. And let me tell you, it never friggin' worked until I had no more dollars in the bank account to try it again. And I tried about 6,000 times. That's about how many dollars I had. And I know, like, well, one example isn't going to prove that it doesn't work, but it depends on how you use it. Because manifestation could be good or bad. And this is where this comes full circle because it goes back to religion. Again, manifestation could be the devil leading you on, is all it is.
It totally could be.
It's giving you false hope and false faith, and it's letting you down time and time again. And it's, let me see where I wanted to go with it. Boom. It's like believing, okay, let's say God, all right, he's got a path for you. Manifestation is believing that you can defy that path, that you can
It's
manifest your own. And
Like I
that's
said earlier, it's like, like what he's trying to do is just confuse people.
yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
It's like meditation.
Yeah.
Meditation is like the same way. That's how I view meditation.
Yep.
It's like
Trying to distract
it
you.
brings you, like, it calms you down and whatever, and it's got all these positive effects. But what the Bible says is meditate on the word day and night. And what's the devil trying to do? He's trying to make you not do that.
Yep.
So what do you do in meditation? You completely calm your brain. It's like you're teaching yourself how to not think about anything. Very, very cool stuff. Because it's like I did meditation for a while and I loved it. And I was like, this is super cool. It's actually helping me. It's calming me down and whatever. But when I heard this guy talking about it, it was so crazy because it's like,
Never thought
it's
of it
like
that way.
manifestation. It's like these different ways for the devil to like turn you around
Yep.
into a different way. But it
penetrate your
seems,
path.
it
Yep.
seems like the right way to go,
Yep.
or it seems like a great way to go. But really, it's like not where you're supposed to go.
The
guess.
reason it's wrong, manifestation is wrong, is because it's, let's say I'm a religious person. This is how I would talk about it if I was a religious person. It's wrong because it takes away from the idea of faith. It replaces faith. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, manifestation is kind of the same thing as faith. No, it's not. It's not. Manifestation is hoping that something will happen other than what's going to happen.
It's like,
Faith is accepting what's going to happen no matter what and understanding that it's happening and it's going to be okay. Manifestation is trying to change it. That's the devil trying
Yeah.
to get into you and say, oh, you can change it. You have control. You can
Wow.
get what you want out of it. No, you got to have faith no matter what happens. It's going to be okay. So it completely steers you away from faith.
I never even thought about that. That's crazy.
Full circle, bro.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. Full circle.
That's awesome. Cause like I always just was thinking about it, how like, I mean, I watch a lot of podcasts about like millionaires and whatever, and they all say like the same stuff. And it's like all this like manifest your reality. And if you want it, you have to, like, manifestation. It's kind of like you choose your reality,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, but that's where I've had a big confusion because I actually recently have been praying about it a lot. And I'm like, what if I don't become rich? And I'm like, wow. I mean, I want to so bad. I want to become successful so bad. But I was praying about it and I was like, wait, is this even a part of God's plan?
What if it's not?
What if it's not? And it might not be, you know? And that would suck. It would sting a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
But
That's why
if
you
it's
can't.
not a part of his plan, it's like there's nothing I could do, you know? And I'm sure, I mean, he has the best plan for you anyways. What you think you want is never really going to satisfy you as much, you know? And it's
Yep.
like he knows exactly what you need and what you really want. But it's like, and I was thinking about that a lot. I was like, I was talking to Conrad. I was like, Conrad, I have a really strong feeling that I'm not going to be successful, or I'm not going to become rich. I'm not going to have that lifestyle where I get to travel the world. I'm not going to have the lifestyle where I could just, you know, have 2 houses on the beach.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I didn't think about if that was God's plan. I just wanted that to be my plan.
And that's where manifestations, the
And I was
devil,
like, yeah.
he's trying to get you to
Yeah.
focus on your own, making your own plan and not following God's plan.
Yeah.
You
And
just got to have faith. It's going to take you where
yeah,
you need to be.
that's crazy that we talked about that, because that was something I just have been talking to Conrad about like recently, and I've been
Trying to
praying about it a
manifesting
lot.
maybe,
I'm like,
you know.
God is like, I've been just praying about for clarity
Yeah.
for my future, because
Here's your clarity, man.
I just don't know where I'm supposed to go, you know.
Yeah, no, totally. And I never even thought about the manifestation and correlation to like faith and all that until just now either. But it's just like a click moment. It's like I could totally see that being attributed to like the devil, you know, whatever, trying to trick your mind and make you think that you can veer away from having just pure faith in God and being okay with wherever He's taking you versus trying to manifest your own path, or and like not in the literal sense of manifest your own path, because it's all good to have faith and going down the right path, but it's supposed to be, in layman's terms, God, please take me down the right path versus I want to become rich, make me rich, make me rich, make me rich, make me rich. You know?
Yeah, it's like in the end, you really can't. It's like I can't really choose what happens, and I'm totally okay with that. You know, I mean, recently I'm kind of like the person who's like, some crappy happens, you know, I'm like, okay, that sucks. God's got a plan. He's got me. Like I have no money. Like my car broke down, whatever. I'm like, okay, this sucks, but you know, there's a plan, but it sucks.
Yeah. You gotta stay faithful. To bring it back around again, another full circle, back into me saying the manifestation is bull crap and my experiences with it, with gambling. You know, take this for what you will, the listeners out there. But during my gambling, I noticed when the more I would try to manifest my winnings, the more I would lose.
Really?
100%. It was because I didn't start manifesting it until I was losing. You know, once I started losing, I was like, okay, I need to manifest this. And the more I tried, the more I lose, the more I get sucked in. Because I'm like, oh, the manifestation is going to work. It's going to work. And that's the devil telling you it's going to work. He's tricking you. And that's why you keep going and losing and losing and losing, because it's not going to work. However, when I first started out, I didn't care about manifesting. I didn't care about winning or losing. I cared about playing the game. It was fun. It was enjoyable. And whatever happened for a reason, because I wasn't trying to intervene in it, whatever. And like to get to the point, you know, if you were to just sit back and relax and take it as it is and not try to control it so much, you'll find the results a lot more pleasing, because you're not setting yourself up for failure is the best way to put it. When you try to manifest, you are expecting to achieve it. So when you don't, you fall. And it's like, oh, darn, I didn't get it. And it disappoints you. And again, it's the devil bringing you down even more. Whereas if you have faith and you leave it up to God, there's no room for any disappointment, because it's all up to Him. You're not even thinking about where you might be. You're letting Him take you. So there's no disappointment there, no risk of it. You live a happier life no matter what happens. But the second you try to manifest it and you trick yourself into thinking that this could actually happen, and then it doesn't, man. And then now you're pissed off.
But then with the faith stuff, that also means don't like not believe in yourself. And also like don't, like, you should definitely believe in yourself, you know, and also like
for sure
try it, or like try things. Because I feel like that can also come off to somebody as like, oh, well, that was my sign to not start that business. Or, oh, well, I'm not going to manifest it. It's all really up to God. So why even try anything? Because basically, if it's supposed to happen, it'll just fall into my lap. No, like definitely go try it, make it happen.
Just have the right intentions when doing it. You know, like don't think that, let me rephrase what I was saying. Don't think it's going to happen just because you're manifesting it. Yeah. Think it's going to happen because you're trying and you're actually doing something about making it happen. You know, and having faith that if what you're doing to make it happen is right, then it'll happen. You know, you don't have to have just pure faith, blind faith, and just run with it. You just got to have faith in what you're doing. There you go. Don't have faith in the result. Have faith in what you're doing. You know, so if what that business is what you're trying to start, have faith that that's what you're supposed to be doing. You know, don't leave it up to manifestation though, as in like. Yeah,
that's cool, because for all these interviews so far, I've never done like a full
180
circle like that. That's
life, man.
Freaking awesome.
Sick. I'm glad I can be part of that. I love it when stuff comes 180. Like
Oh yeah,
anything.
it just all connects
It's
at the
just
end.
click, and it's like, oh,
Mhm.
this is the whole purpose of it. You know, this is
Mhm.
why we're here talking about things. That's why we talked about this, so we can come back to that to bring up the other point that we didn't even think about until we talked about that other thing. And life's crazy, y'all. Buckle up. It's one heck of a ride.
So, if there was anything you wanted to tell the listener, any I don't know advice or
Yeah.
something, you know, what's the takeaway of today's episode? Like main points or anything?
Honestly, I think that the biggest takeaway from this is believe in yourself and believe in your path. You know, I think that's what we can really grab from this is what we learned. And, you know, it's understanding that when you get hit with a roadblock, it's not the end of the road. It's just a roadblock. You just got to jump over it and keep on going and having faith that everything's going to be all right in the end, you know, and believing in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, who will? It's such a cliche saying, but it's one of the best sayings out there. As long as you just keep doing what you believe in, 100%, you will get to where you're supposed to be at in life. Can't guarantee you'll get to where you want, but you'll get to where you're supposed to be. You know, we don't always get what we want, but
And I've got something too. Be open-minded to other like opinions and stuff.
yeah, no, for sure.
That's a super important thing, and that'll take you so far in life because like if you're open-minded about things, it can take you to to a lot of
Yeah.
really fun places.
Yeah, don't be stubborn, man. You know,
Yeah.
you can't be stubborn in this life. You're stubborn. Then you're stubborn, and you're not
Mhm.
going to get anywhere. You know, and, that is a good thing, a good point too. I didn't think of it like that, but yeah, open mindedness, man. If you're not open to other possibilities in life, then you know, let's say your possibility has set out in front of you doesn't work out. What else left for you if you're not open to other possibilities? You know, you'll give up at the end of the road if you're not ready for other possibilities. So it's like, just do, y'all, you know, whatever you think you need to do. And as long as you think it's the right thing to do and what you're supposed to be doing, just do it. If you believe in yourself and you believe in your purpose and you believe that it's hard work for yourself, and then do it. You know, don't be scared. Don't be worried. Get up and do it. Like my boy Jameson here, you know, I really appreciate him bringing me on here. He's talked to me a lot about this podcast and stuff, and now he's been wanting to do it, and he's been doing it for a couple months now, and I'm so glad that I have at least one friend that's like actually out there doing what they want to do and what they believe they should be doing. Because man, oh man, I look around all these other people in the world and my closer friends, and they're just sitting around waiting, kind of like me, just sort of sitting around waiting right now. And we need more people out there like you, Jameson, that are ready to take the world head on and do what they think they should be doing. I feel like the world would be such a better place if people would just stop worrying so much about everything and just have a little bit more faith in themselves and in the world to get them to where they need to be, you know, and be okay with where they're at when they get there, and not be shameful or ungrateful for wherever life may take them. Life can take you to some pretty bad places, you know, but it's not the end of the day. You're there for a reason. It's not just because the world hates you. I promise, you know, just sometimes it happens to you. You're in that bad spot for a little bit, but just keep on going. You know, like Jameson, he had a bad month the other day. You know, he didn't have that many listeners, but it's 1 month out of 3 or whatever, or 4. I don't know how long it's been, but
5.
yeah. 1 month out of 5. You had one bad month, and you didn't stop.
Yeah, dude, it
recorded.
was so discouraging, and then I
Yeah.
just kept on going.
Exactly, and the next month after you kept on going, you had your best month. You know, right? It was the next month, right?
It was 2 months.
Okay, 2 months.
It was a slow build up.
Yeah.
I mean, after
Soon
second
after,
month, it was blow
soon
up.
after you got through the discouragement, you went on to have one of your best months yet. You know, and that's what y'all need to look forward to, is just realizing what could be waiting for y'all on the other side if you just push through and just do what needs to be done. And I have a lot of struggles with that myself, just like trying to start this streaming. I want to do it so bad, but it's super discouraging seeing how successful all these other people are and how I'm not going to be able to measure up to that, you know, or the possibility of me not being able to measure up to that. And I don't need to let that bring me down or distract me from what I actually truly want, which is just to stream and put my content out there as well. And if that's what I want, I just need to get out there and do it, you know, stop waiting. But yeah, it's really all I have to say. All I had to say changed 5 times.
Yeah, that's all right. But hey, my man, I really appreciate you coming on. Like,
Yeah.
what a great episode.
Yeah.
Some good conversations. I always have a great conversation with you every time I
appreciate
see
it.
you. But I appreciate the kind words as well. And one thing I learned with this podcast and Bearded Skate and everything, it's like, yeah, do your homework, figure out what you need to do to start that thing. But at the end of the day, you can't wait for the stars to align. And it's like,
Yep.
I was sitting here on this podcast like, oh, I'm just going to watch one more video. I'm just going to listen to
bit more
one more thing,
research.
like a little bit more research. But at the end of the day, it's like, you got to just, you did the homework you need to do. And it's like, you just got to take the leap, you know?
Yep. You gotta walk before you run.
And the first stuff is never super great. So, and that's okay. It's just, it gets better over time. So,
Sick, man. Yeah, really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to some future interviews, maybe.
yeah.
Talk about some crazier topics.
Yeah.
I know these were pretty crazy today, some way, somehow, but who knows? Maybe next we'll talk about some aliens.
Aliens, that's a fun one. Absolutely. But yeah, thank you so much. If you're listening, if you made it this far, I very much appreciate you. Thank you for listening. I hope you found not only enjoyed today's episode, but also found some benefit to today's episode. Thanks for listening.